Hello and welcome to Africa Live, where we bring you African and global news from all perspectives. I'm Famida Miller. Also coming up in the next half hour. UK-based Tullow Oil makes a fifth consecutive oil discovery in northern Kenya. And calculated right, using extreme sports to teach Egyptian youth to be responsible. We begin in the Central African Republic, where the escalating political crisis is now causing very serious concerns. France, the United Nations and the United States are calling for an intervention to halt the spiraling violence. France is now warning the country that it's, quote, on the verge of genocide, end quote. The CAR descended into chaos after Seleka rebels ousted President Francois Bozize in March. Clementine Logan has more.
Growing fears that sectarian violence in the Central African Republic could spiral into genocide have ramped up calls for an international intervention. Fighting has pitted majority Muslim Seleka rebels against militia groups protecting Christian communities, which make up about 80% of the population. France said on Thursday it expected the United Nations to give Paris and the African Union permission to intervene. It currently has about 400 troops in the CAR, mainly protecting the airport and French assets in the capital. But Paris is reportedly considering boosting this number to between 700 and 1,200. The US is also calling for deeper international involvement to halt the violence. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon said on Monday UN peacekeepers could be deployed. However, US Secretary of State John Kerry made it clear that Washington favors an African peacekeeping force, quicker to set up and also equipped for enforcement. The 2,500-strong security force is set to be beefed up next month and will come under AU command. On Wednesday, the US pledged $40 million towards it. Since the Seleka rebel coalition ousted President Francois Bozize in March, installing the CAR's first Muslim leader, President Michel Djotodia, in power, the UN has estimated around 400,000 people have been displaced. 2.3 million are in need of assistance. The UN Security Council plans to vote early December on a resolution to allow CAR's neighbours, the African Union and France, to intervene in the crisis. Clementine Logan, CCTV.
Well, the interim president of the CAR now says that his job is no longer as appealing as it once was when he seized power in March. Michel Djotodia complained to reporters that his role is negatively impacting his sleep. He says security is the primary concern of his restless nights, as the Seleka fighters he once led now carry out attacks on civilians across the country. A group known as the Anti-Balaka has risen up to challenge the majority Muslim rebels and protect Christians, leading to a tit-for-tat reprisal killings that have forced hundreds of thousands to flee. Djotodia says he hopes things will soon change for the better so that he can step down once elections scheduled for 2015 or earlier are held. In other news making headlines around the continent, Chad's President Idriss Déby has named a new Prime Minister following the resignation of the previous head of government, who resigned along with his cabinet. Khalzoubet Doubé, an economist who currently heads Chad's government-owned cotton parastatal, was appointed the country's Prime Minister under a presidential decree read on state television. The previous Prime Minister, Joseph Jemranga Dadajni, resigned on Thursday, a day before lawmakers from his own ruling majority had planned to examine a motion of censure against his government. Turning to North Africa, rival Libyan militias have surrendered their bases to the army and retreated from Tripoli. At Mitiga Air Base, militias tied to the Islamist-leaning Supreme Security Committee say they'll give control or they won't give control to the army. Commanders and officials say the powerful brigades from Zintan, southwest of Tripoli, also handed over their base. Libyans have become increasingly frustrated with the gangs of ex-fighters who've refused to disarm in the 2 years since they toppled longtime leader Muammar Gaddafi. And finally, Kenya's warned that the International Criminal Court's case against its two highest elected officials risks destabilizing the entire East African region. At a meeting of the court's member states, the Kenyan Attorney General says the court and its member states are playing what he describes as Russian roulette with the country. He says Kenya is a pillar of security in the region, which is more than 250 million people. Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan has received medical treatment while on a visit to London. His aide has described the visit to hospital as precautionary, saying his condition is not serious. The 56-year-old president was due to attend an investment meeting in London on Thursday, but was not well enough. He has no known serious illnesses. Now, for more on the latest health situation with President Goodluck Jonathan, we're joined live from London by CCTV's Dan Whitehead. Dan, what's the latest information you have on President Goodluck Jonathan's condition?
Well, his camp are really giving very little information indeed. What we do know is on Thursday, President Jonathan was due to attend the opening meeting of Nigeria's International Investors Council at a hotel on Park Lane. His spokesman says that he became indisposed and could not attend at that meeting. As you mentioned there, his spokesman and his camp are saying that his condition is not serious and that the medical treatment which he has received was merely a precautionary measure. What we don't know is whether he was taken to hospital specifically or whether private doctors attended the residence where he is staying. We know he has been examined by what his camp say are competent medical professionals, but at the moment there is very little detail being published. His side really playing down the seriousness of his condition though.
Now, Dan, in the past we've had leaders hiding their health status, perhaps playing down how serious it is, as you've mentioned there. So is the Nigerian leader likely to prolong his stay in London as he gets medical attention?
Well, in terms of going forward, all we know from what we have heard from the President's camp is that he has been told by the medical professionals to rest for a few days. That doesn't really give us a huge amount of information. So whether or not he's going to have to prolong his visit even further than that, we don't know. The 56-year-old, he's just turned 56 and he doesn't have any pre-existing publicly known medical conditions. So the information we're getting on this side is that it isn't going to have a dramatic prolonging of his visit to the UK. And again, his camp really pushing that this is not a serious medical condition which is being dealt with.
All right, thanks very much for that, Dan Whitehead in London. Now let's move to Mozambique, where official results for the fourth local elections that took place on Wednesday have not yet been released. Although preliminary results indicate that the ruling party, Frelimo, is set to win in most municipalities. CCTV correspondent Julie Shah has more from the city's capital, Maputo.
Mozambique, an overall population of 24 million people and just 3.5 million registered to vote in Wednesday's municipal elections. 53 municipalities, only two strong political parties competing, Frelimo and the New Mozambique Democratic Movement, MDM. This is the first time that MDM, a Renamo breakaway founded in 2009, has contested a nationwide municipal election, giving hope to many Mozambicans.
They showed that they are present and want to be the main opposition and challenge the government, and that is very important. It will bring change to our country and show politicians that Mozambicans have a voice.
Frelimo, which has been victorious in all elections since the end of Mozambique's civil war in 1992, looks set for convincing wins, especially after Renamo's decision to boycott these polls, arguing that election laws needed to be changed.
For these current elections, I think they will win. I'm confident that they will win. First, because we didn't have a full participation in terms of opposition, especially the Renamo party.
The MDM put up a fight in urban centers with less than 20% of the votes counted in Maputo. Incumbent Frelimo Mayor David Simango is ahead with 58% versus 42% for the MDM candidate.
It may not win many municipalities here. It may only win its two strongholds in Beira and Quelimane, but it has staked out a strong position for the future.
Preliminary results show that Mozambique's ruling party, Frelimo, is leading in these municipal elections. But there has been a shake-up, and the new opposition, MDM, is proving to be a serious contender for next year's presidential elections. Julie Shire, CCTV, in Maputo, Mozambique.
It's time now for a short break. When we come back. patriotic spirit, we tell you how Tanzania's first pediatric heart surgeon has been impacting the local medical field.
Uprooted from their homeland by 2 decades of bloody conflict, Kenya became the second home for hundreds of thousands of Somali refugees. Now it's time to start the journey back home.
It's the beginning of a journey of hope.
For many, it's a moment of both excitement and anxiety.
The large number of undocumented refugees has created unprecedented security challenges for our country.
We'll tell you why this week in Talk Africa.
Welcome back. Tanzania is one of the world's least developed countries. Meeting the basic healthcare needs of the 45 million strong population is an ongoing challenge for its government. The major health threats are malaria, tuberculosis and HIV/AIDS. The government, supported by aid organizations, is chipping away at the country's health challenges one disease at a time, sometimes one doctor at a time. Stephanie Fried has this report.
34-year-old Godwin Godfrey is at home here. It's the Children's Intensive Care Unit of this Tel Aviv hospital where Dr. Godfrey has been training for 5 years. In 2008, he was singled out by a team of Israeli physicians affiliated with Save a Child's Heart organization to travel to this facility and specialize in pediatric cardiology. In the coming days, he will complete his training and return home to Tanzania's second largest city, Mwanza. When he gets there, he will be Tanzania's first and only heart surgeon for children.
I started packing, and the truth is, I didn't think I had so much stuff.
The Human Development Index ranks Tanzania 152 out of 187 countries worldwide in terms of life expectancy, education, and income. When it comes to healthcare, the doctor-patient ratio is alarming, 1 per 30,000 people. Compare that with the U.S., where there's a doctor for every 300 Americans. Dr. Godwin returns to this stark reality, but his training has prepared him for it.
We currently don't see such kind of disease like in Europe or in America anymore because it was eradicated, but in Africa it's still a very big problem.
During hands-on studies in Israel, Dr. Godwin has treated children from Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, and Tanzania, hailing from families who can't afford a meal a day, let alone costly heart procedures. These children were flown in by Save a Child's Heart for specialized care, and they are the types of cases he will tend to when he goes back to Tanzania.
Gonga.
In some ways, he's never been far from home. This 5-year-old with a heart condition and multiple physical problems comes from the doctor's hometown. He was initially diagnosed by Dr. Godwin's pediatrician wife. As rounds wrap for the day, he goes back to the dorm room on campus that has been his home away from home for the past 5 years.
Come in, it's small, it's a squeeze, but was comfortable.
He will miss his other family in Israel, but he is ready to get back to life in Tanzania.
5 years away from my wife, that means I've just survived a divorce.
Preparing for his role as Tanzania's first pediatric heart surgeon, he realizes tremendous responsibility is part of the package deal.
It's a very big challenge. Heart surgery is not a one-man show. A good surgeon maybe goes back home and do all this fancy surgery. You need a very good cardiologist. You need a very good intensivist. You need equipment.
His biggest fear is that after half a decade spent in intense specialization training, Tanzania's lacking infrastructure, funding, and medical equipment may bar him from doing his job. As we travel with Dr. Godwin to Tanzania, we will discover the challenges he faces as he goes about the task of saving children's lives. Stephanie Fried, CCTV, Tel Aviv.
It's been 50 years since the Chinese government sent its first medical team to Africa. The destination was Algeria. Since then, teams have been deployed across the continent. Madagascar is one of the toughest missions. CCTV's Sun Lan's filed this report.
Monday morning at Madagascar's mighty hospital. For the past 38 years, doctors here have started the week in the same way. Their national anthems played alongside each other, honoring a partnership that treated thousands over the years and in very tough conditions.
You have to face incredible challenges. For example, the equipment we use is the same as what doctors used in the 1960s in China.
Skills like this are in short supply, but a simple treatment using small needle knives can change lives.
It worked. Now I can move my arm to the left, to the right. Well done.
Most of our patients come to the hospital so that they can be examined by the Chinese doctors.
Chinese medics deployed in Africa routinely work in some of the most remote and deprived areas, where the need is greatest. In Madagascar is no different. The team even had to fix the well that provides water for the hospital.
It took us months to get the well ready. Now we don't have to worry about the dry season anymore.
Perhaps the biggest challenge is homesickness. During their 2-year term, they don't have any leave. There's no chance to go home and visit families. That's a big test for some of them.
I am really homesick. Every time young patients are rushed to the hospital, I think about my daughter. She's about the same age. But then I'll try my best to relieve their pain and help them recover. They're like my children.
This is one maternity ward in the hospital where the Chinese and Malagasy doctors work together. During the past 40 years, the Chinese medical team has helped lots of patients. And despite all those challenges they faced, they will remain here to save more lives.
In the doctors' living quarters, pictures of the previous teams hang on the wall, 18 of them, depicting a friendship spanning 4 decades. As Dr. Yan showed me the picture of his team, there's clearly a sense of pride. This picture will soon be on the wall too, and another new team will be working here. Sun Lan, CCTV, Mighty Hospital, Madagascar.